For those of you unaware, I grew up among a family of academics and a family of academics, growing and working among academics from a very, very young age. Very specifically, my father actually was co-chair of an organization that would publish the research of PhD students to obtain their PhDs. And so I would meet a lot of academics within the field. I would meet a lot of academics who are still on their way to try and become academics. And I often hear conversations, because my family are still academics, about, the high rate of like plagiarism and cheating and all this jazz within student or among students. And it's really interesting to me too as to which students are recognized for doing this and what type of consequences are issued to which students in regards to the actions that they do, and which students seem to get away with a slap on the wrist, shall we say. And I'm discussing this because I'm watching and learning more about this Jason Arday story, Dr. Arday story. Let's first off call him by his credentials. Dr. Arday, okay, was a professor who got in a lot of heat because he got caught doing something unprofessional. But let me say something. A lot of academics plagiarize, steal ideas, steal research, co-sign things that they contributed nothing to. A large portion, in fact. And some professors seem to get away with it on a massive scale. Because the fact is, academia was never created for people like you and me who have a little bit more melanation than others. Like Dr. Arday, my father was a Northeast African import brought to the university where he works. And upon his deathbed, basically 90% of his biggest accomplishments had been plagiarized and or stolen by his colleagues with zero credit to the amount of work that he had done. I don't see many reports on how frequently this happens. I don't see many reports or conversations being had about the students or teachers, professors that engage in that type of activity. And this is not to say that Professor Arday should have plagiarized and gotten away with it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the disproportionate response demonstrates exactly what this was about. It wasn't about plagiarism. Because if it was, we would hold accountable every single academic for that exact behavior, and we don't. We don't at all. We don't, despite very obvious evidence. We all know that this wasn't about academic integrity. We all know that this had more to do with making an example of this individual. And given that we are talking about civil academics, when we are in academia, we have to pretend like, we are above a certain standard of violence. But we can inflict the same amount of violence and harm using alternative methods. Alternative measures such as covert narcissism. Mobbing someone online to get them to off themselves is no different than a public lynching or execution. Sit in that discomfort.